Hi everyone. I had the opportunity last week to interview Reshma Sajani. She is the founder and CEO of Girls Who Code, which is a national nonprofit that focuses on teaching young girls how to code through two different programs: an after-school program geared for middle school and high schoolers, and a summer immersion program geared for rising juniors and seniors in high school to teach them the fundamentals of computer science. The nonprofit started 4 years ago in 2012 with just 20 students, and over the past 4 years has expanded to over 10,000 students, which has been a really great success on Reshma's part. So, like I said, Reshma founded the organization, and when she's not traveling, she's pretty much in the office all the time. So I worked there and had the opportunity to interview her. This was our first interaction. We have a lot of small interactions and team interactions, but this is the first time I actually got to sit down and interview her. So that was a really interesting perspective. We did it at our office. So Girls Who Code works in the office of AppNexus, which is a huge tech company in New York. They actually give us space within their office for free, which is really nice. So it's kind of feels, we work for a nonprofit, but it kind of feels like working for a for-profit because there's lots of open space and a great snack kitchen and all those things that for-profit companies can afford that we kind of get the benefits of. We have an open layout, as many New York offices do, so just like kind of tables and desks, but you also have the opportunity to work on things like bean bags and phone booths and smaller things like that I've seen a lot in New York, as opposed to other places where, like when I worked in Raleigh in North Carolina, where there's more focus on cubicles and offices and things like that. So for the interview, I approached it with Reshma, definitely from an organizational cultural perspective. I'm really interested in organizational culture and kind of the way that you shape that, especially as a new nonprofit. So I'm just going to go through the questions really quickly and kind of give you some of the highlights that I pulled out from her responses. So the first thing that we talked about is just how she got into Girls Who Code. So her past, she was actually a lawyer by trade, and she was actually running for Congress. So she was a politician at the New York City local level and actually ran for Congress and lost. But while she was running, she actually was campaigning a lot, going to schools, and was noticing in all of these classrooms, computer classrooms and things like that, there was always boys, and she was like, where are the girls? Where are they? And the thing is, girls just weren't showing up, and it's because they don't have an interest in it. It's just like there's no space for them in the tech space, and so she really wanted to focus on creating that, and so she founded Girls Who Code. She never thought, hey, I want to start my own nonprofit. She saw a problem, she wanted to change it, and it kind of just spun from there. And it was a huge lesson for her in like creating, exactly doing the thing that we always say Gandhi does, and creating the change you want to see. And she was able to make a difference. She says that she was able to make more of a difference as an executive director over the past 4 years than she thinks she could have did as a politician in the last 20 years, simply based on all the red tape that you find in government. I think politicians can do a lot of things, and they can say a lot of things. So moving on to the second question. The question about what you were most prepared for coming into the role and what you were least prepared for. So Reshma said, because she was a politician before, she was ready to raise money, which I feel like is 90% of an executive director's job at a nonprofit. So she was ready to be the face of the organization, to raise that money, to be an evangelist, to use her words, or spokesperson, and to have that big vision that she could kind of share with others while her team kind of did the day-to-day stuff. She was definitely ready for that, to push those big ideas forward. And she said her biggest struggle was actually management. Like, she's like, not everyone should be a manager. She's like, I don't even know if I should be a manager. It's a skill set that she's still learning. And, she's really learning how to encourage staff and pat them on the back and have KPIs and goals and report to her board when they need to be reported to. those are all things that don't come naturally for her. So she's really trying to take that in stride and learn day by day. Um, and so one of the things that I asked her when we were talking about that, since I was like, you do struggle with being a manager, how do you wrap that then into the organization's culture? And she said, as a manager, I want people to understand that I want a culture of taking charge. So once again, we talked about that business model of being a go-getter. And she said, I really want people to get stuff done that they think they can't do. She said that her executive coach always mentioned that people want a job where they can learn, earn, and have fun. And at a nonprofit, you certainly aren't earning as you would in the private sector. So she wants to really emphasize that learning and the having fun aspect. She doesn't want anyone on Sunday nights to go to bed and dreading getting up Monday, going to work. She wants you to come into work your ass off, learn more than you've ever learned working at another job, so that if you do ever walk away from Girls Who Code, you can be like, wow, that job really kicked my butt, but I learned a ton and I had a lot of fun doing it. And I think, that was a really fun thing to hear her say. And then, after that, we went back to talking about the board and board relationships and how you kind of create those and meld those into the organizational culture. And the part that I liked about what aspects she wants other people coming in to know to have, she said it was resilience. So make sure that you are very resilient and have plenty of thick skin, and always keep organizational culture kind of in the back of your mind, because it really can make or break an organization in the long run. And that's kind of the gist of my interview. There's a ton more I could say, but I know we're on a time limit. Thanks for listening.